Everybody is working together as one team. This is a goal that every cabinet secretary across the board agrees with. We have to reduce our workforce. We have to make our bureaucracy more efficient. And then when the March 13th deadline hits,
At the American Honor Gala, a prestigious event celebrating veterans and first responders, an unexpected moment unfolded. Amid the celebration, a surprising clash erupted over the removal of the U.S. flag. How did Karoline Leavitt and Caitlin Clark react to this shocking turn of events? The answers may leave you questioning the very definition of patriotism in America. Karoline Leavitt, young, unapologetically patriotic, and a force in the political arena. Despite her age, Karoline has quickly risen to become a prominent figure in Washington, known for her unwavering stance on national values and a fierce advocacy for veterans. To Karoline, the flag is more than just a piece of cloth. It's a symbol of sacrifice, of honor, of the blood, sweat, and tears that countless Americans have shed to defend freedom. When she entered the ballroom, she carried with her more than just a political resume. She carried the weight of a family legacy. Her grandfather, a World War II veteran, had been given a folded flag upon his passing. That flag now held a place of honor in Karoline's lap, a quiet but powerful tribute to those who came before her.
I'm really excited. I think Kelly and Amber have done a really good job of, finding pieces that fit. It makes me excited about the future, obviously, with Steph and her staff coming in here, and my ability to work out with Keith all off season has been really fun, but it's been fun. I got to work out with DB
And then there's Caitlin Clark, basketball legend, a name that needs no introduction. Caitlin has not only shattered records on the court, but has also transcended the sport to become an icon of inspiration for millions. She's known for her incredible skill, yes, but also for her humility, her commitment to advocating for military families, and honoring those who've sacrificed their lives for the country. Caitlin wasn't just in the room to receive accolades for her athleticism. She was there for something deeper. The warm-up jacket she wore, emblazoned with the words, "Honor the Fallen," spoke volumes. It wasn't just a piece of clothing, it was a statement. A statement that she stood with the military community. A statement of respect, of reverence.
how could anyone possibly be opposed to any of this action that he is taking? Well, apparently, the modern-day Democrat Party could.
As the event began, the national anthem filled the air, and everyone in the room stood together in unison. Karoline, seated front and center, held that American flag close to her chest. Caitlin, standing on stage, had her jacket as her tribute. But as the anthem ended and the room settled back down, something unexpected happened. A well-known media personality, seated at a VIP table, suddenly broke the silence. "Karoline, Caitlin," he said, loud enough for the entire room to hear. "Some say these symbols represent a past that divides us rather than unites us. Isn't it time we move forward, instead of clinging to outdated ideas of patriotism?" The words were sharp. They cut through the room like a hot knife through butter. There was a noticeable shift in the atmosphere. Eyes turned. Whispers started. The media had just launched a grenade into a room that had been all about honor, respect, and unity. Caitlin and Karoline locked eyes for a split second. They both knew the stakes. This wasn't just a question. It was a trap. It was a challenge. And now, they had to respond. With the eyes of the room on her, Karoline slowly stood up, still clutching the flag that had been passed down through her family. Her voice was steady, unwavering, as she addressed the media personality directly. "This flag was handed to my family as a final honor for my grandfather's service. It is not outdated, and it is not a political statement," she said, her voice calm, but carrying a quiet fire. "It is a reminder of the sacrifice, of the duty, and of the price that was paid so that we could all be here tonight, freely speaking our minds." A murmur spread through the audience, Some people nodded in agreement, while others shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The journalist, seemingly unfazed, fired back.
"That's one way to look at it," he smirked. "But don't you think that in today's world, patriotism should be more about inclusivity rather than symbols from the past? Some might say that holding on to things like that flag does more harm than good."
Now, all eyes were on Caitlin. She could have played it safe. She could have said something neutral. She could have agreed with the sentiment and avoided the controversy. But no, she chose to stand by her beliefs. She stepped forward, closing the distance between herself and Karoline. "I play basketball because I love the game," she began. "But I also love this country, and I love the people who've given me the opportunity to play it. That's what this jacket represents. If that's controversial, then maybe we need to ask why." The crowd fell silent. The journalist didn't miss a beat. "So you don't care about how others interpret these symbols?" he pressed. "That their pain doesn't matter?" Caitlin let out a slow breath before continuing. She explained that honoring the sacrifices of those who came before them didn't mean ignoring the struggles they still needed to face today. She believed it was possible to do both, remember their past while working towards a better future. In her eyes, these two ideas were not in conflict. They were interconnected. A heavy silence followed her words, until a slow clap echoed from the front row. The room turned to see a decorated veteran, one of the evening's honorees, standing up. Though in his late 70s, his posture remained straight, despite the weight of his years. "I fought for this country," he said, his voice strong and firm. "I lost friends for it. And when I see young people like them standing up for what they believe in, I don't see division. I see hope." The room began to shift. More and more people stood up, clapping. The applause grew louder, swelling until nearly half the room was on its feet. But it wasn't unanimous. Some stayed seated, whispering among themselves. A few journalists were already frantically typing, preparing their spin. The moment was captured in real time, and within minutes, the internet erupted. Social media exploded with reactions. Clips of the event were shared across every platform, and the media outlets scrambled to cover the controversy. Some praised Karoline and Caitlin for standing firm, for defending the flag, for refusing to apologize. They were hailed as symbols of courage, of strength. Others, however, framed them as reckless, out of touch with modern America, divisive. It was a media frenzy, and everyone had their opinion. Veterans, military families, and everyday citizens flooded social media with messages of support. Parents who had lost sons and daughters in service shared their gratitude for Karoline and Caitlin's courage. "Thank you for standing up when so many others backed down," they wrote. But the backlash wasn't just from the media. Caitlin's sponsors were the first to react. Some issued cautious statements about respecting all viewpoints, while others chose silence. Behind closed doors, many sponsors reconsidered their deals, unsure of how the controversy would affect their brand. Karoline also faced pressure. Some political figures who had once aligned with her began to distance themselves, unwilling to be caught in the storm. Advisors told her to be careful, to issue a neutral statement. But Karoline wasn't having it. "They want us to fold," she said later in an interview. "But we're not going to." The storm continued to brew. The media pushed their narrative, spinning the story in every direction. But Karoline and Caitlin, they stood their ground. They knew they had done the right thing, and they weren't about to apologize for it. They hadn't just defended themselves. They had defended something bigger than themselves. In the days following the gala, a retired 4-star general appeared on live television. His words cut through the chaos. When I see two young women stand up for what they believe in,
I don't see division, he said. I see courage. And if we've reached a point where showing respect to those who sacrificed for us is controversial, then the problem isn't with them. It's with us. The tide began to shift. News outlets that had been critical of Karoline and Caitlin started to soften their stance. Veterans groups, athletes from other sports, and everyday citizens all rallied behind them. Public sentiment began to change. By the end of the week, the storm had backfired. The media's narrative had been exposed. Karoline and Caitlin had emerged stronger, more influential, and more respected than ever before. As Caitlin and Karoline walked into their next public appearance, Caitlin turned to Karoline with a smirk and asked, "So, I guess we're troublemakers now?" Karoline laughed and replied, "We were from the start. They just didn't see it coming." The media tried to spin the story, but it didn't matter anymore. The truth had been spoken loud and clear. Karoline and Caitlin had not only survived the storm, they had emerged as symbols of unwavering conviction. What do you think? Was their bold stand an act of courage or recklessness? Do you agree with their stance, or do you think they went too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and join the conversation. Don't forget to subscribe for the latest updates and insider stories.